don't really want the truth. They just want constant reassurance that what they believe is the truth. Okay? How many people you know like that? Yes, indeed. How many are aware that most of the so-called black media outlets, like The Root, I'm gonna call y'all right on out, okay? What's the other one? The Griot, all right, are owned by white companies. And they have two things in common: demonizing black men and pushing interracial relationships, primarily encouraging black women to seek relationships outside their race. The importance of controlling our own media cannot be stressed strongly enough. Controlling the propaganda that reaches our community is key to the psychological well-being and focus of our people. Be vigilant. Pay attention to detail. How many times I tell you that? Pay attention to detail. There's levels to this thing. All right? I'll tell you something here. This quote from Noam Chomsky. Freedom without opportunity is a devil's gift. And the refusal to provide such opportunities is criminal. As I always do, I'd like to start you off with a little history. Since I missed Memorial Day celebration on the air, all right, be a little military black history. For those of you that don't know, Memorial Day was founded by black people. Don't get that mixed. And for the Memorial Day salute, I want to talk about Captain Hugh Mulzac. Hugh Nathaniel Mulzac was an Afro-Caribbean member of the United States Merchant Marine. He earned a master rating in 1918, which should have qualified him to command the ship. But this did not happen until 1942. Well, 24 years later. And of course it was because of racial discrimination. Now in 1942, Mulzac was offered command of the SS Booker T. Washington, the first Liberty ship to be named after an African American. He refused at first because the crew was to be all black. He insisted on an integrated crew, stating, under no circumstance will I command a Jim Crow. And the authorities relented. With this, he became famous for being the first ever black captain, the first black man to obtain a ship's master's license, and the first black man ever to command a fully integrated vessel. Under his command, over 18,000 troops were transported around the world, and additionally carrying vital war supplies such as tanks, aircraft, and ammunition to the European front. That's Captain, let me get his name right here, Captain Hugh Nathaniel Mulzac. Look him up. What's up, Steve? I see you, bro. All right. Moving right along. Get right here. Okay. Yeah. With all that's been going on, some things in the news take priority over other things. But let me tell you something. We haven't forgot about this terrorist in Buffalo. White supremacist terrorist Peyton Gendron. On Saturday, May 10th, 2022, he shot 13 black people, killing 10 at Tops grocery store in Buffalo, New York. Oh no, we ain't forgot, and I ain't finished talking about it. Buffalo shooting victims. Hero guard and a teacher who was a pillar of the community are among 10 killed. a retired police lieutenant, a substitute teacher who was a pillar of the community, a beloved grandmother of 6, a dedicated community activist. They were among the 10 people killed in a shooting at a Buffalo, New York supermarket on Saturday, May 10th. A massacre authorities believe was racially motivated. Are you kidding? You believe so? When this man went through the grocery store killing specifically black people, when he ran up on a white person, he apologized for putting the gun at him. Are you kidding? Let us not forget who they were. Roberta A. Drury, 32, of Buffalo. Marcus D. Morrison, 52, of Buffalo. Andre McNeil, 53, of Auburn, New York. Aaron Sawler, 55, of Lockport, New York. Geraldine Calley, 62, of Buffalo, New York. Celestine Chain, 65, of Buffalo. Hayward Patterson, 67, of Buffalo. Catherine Macy, 72, of Buffalo. Pearl Young, 77, of Buffalo. Ruth Whitfield, 86, of Buffalo. Take a moment. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. I'm Patrice, Gibbs, your third eye optometrist, right here on WHGE 95.3 FM, the advocacy education station. And we're going to get some education. You tune in to my show. Believe that. You know, one of the things that has motivated white supremacy to totally freak out, okay, even though the slicksters amongst the white supremacists have found a boogeyman. And that boogeyman is CRT. Okay? And that boogeyman is motivating the armed forces of white supremacy to murder. That boogeyman is CRT. Too many of you don't understand what CRT is. Critical race theory. Critical race theory is a lens with which to view the American empire. It is a perspective, not a curriculum. It isn't the Common Core math version of social studies. It requires a high degree of intellectual maturity, which we know many in the white supremacy community lack. It requires a deep understanding of the institution's history and complex demographic structures of America in order to apply it to a discussion. Consider CRT like a pair of corrective glasses. If the prescription isn't yours, you aren't going to be able to see through them clearly. Your vision is going to be distorted, and anything you try to describe looking through them is going to be nonsense. You can barely introduce it in a 300-level poli-science course and get any degree of helpful discussion. Critical race theory, as described by conservative media, is intended to be a catch-all for everything white people are afraid of culturally in the United States. Let me qualify that. It is a catch-all for everything white people fear about black people. You know, one of the things that I mentioned when I talk about CRT, which they have used to deny teaching real American history, because they say CRT will hurt their children's feelings. You goddamn right it will. Because what they will find out is that their grandparents and probably their parents participated in the most egregious racist activities seen in America. Now they come up with this great replacement theory. Where are the bills outlawing the teaching great replacement theory, which should be known as GRT in our schools? What is great replacement theory? That's the theory that motivated that bastard in Buffalo, Peyton Gendron. That's what motivated him. Where did he get that? Let me tell you something. If they can go around with RICO laws, arresting rappers and mafia dudes and this, that, and the other, they need to apply them RICO laws to those that motivate these white supremacist terrorists to wantonly kill. Where are the laws for that? Oh, why do I say that? Who motivates them? Take a case in point. Fox News, better known as Fox News, star Tucker Carlson should be under arrest. He has blood on his hands. He has blood on his hands for motivating his listeners with this great replacement theory. And of course, when he was called on this lying son of a bitch, got up and said, oh, well, I don't really, really even know what it is. That's a damn lie because we got receipts. We got video footage of you pushing this great replacement theory. Great replacement theory has white supremacists afraid that they're going to be replaced by people of color and black people. Notice I never include black people and people of color. Be aware of that. Who else has blood on their hands? Are you kidding? The NRA. Oh, well, the NRA supports your rights to bear arms. The NRA is not interested in your right to bear arms. The NRA is interested in your right to buy arms. And they don't give a damn about you. Not the National Rifle Association. How about the National Redneck Association? National Racist Association. Because that's what the hell it is. And of course, they're supported by right-wing politicians because American politicians make sure America's mass murderers are the best equipped in the world. Let me say that again. You know I didn't go left or right on that one. American politicians make sure America's mass murderers are the best equipped in the world. The Republicans are to blame for this because they will block any legislation to ban assault rifles such as the AR-15, which was used in the most talked about mass killings in the past 2 weeks. Oh, and Democrats, because they're merely mouth and don't stand up like they should, just recently saw one who did stand up and asked the Republicans, who are they there for? Are they there for the children or the killers? Because they block all legislation. And the NRA still, after the incident in Uvalde, Texas, they still went on with their convention. The governor of Texas didn't attend, but he made a video to make sure that those NRA members, white supremacists and terrorists, that he was still one of them. He made sure of that. What is the solution? Well, according to Ted Cruz, the Texas governor, and all of the right wing, their idea is that we need to arm teachers. Arm teachers and train them to fight. If they don't comply, they have no business teaching. You morons, you don't even trust teachers with books. That's one of the reasons I brought up CRT. You run around burning books. You don't even trust the teachers to teach a curriculum that you can accept. But you want to train them to get guns at the risk of their job. It's crazy. Teachers are not your goddamn sacrificial lambs so that you can keep your AR-15. They're supposedly there to educate children, not storm Normandy. The hell is wrong with you people? Where are we? 233 mass shootings in this country. And the number is higher than that, actually. It might be around 240 now. Just this year. 233 mass shootings just this year. No, wait a minute. Let me tell you something. Now, because the primary perpetrators of these mass shootings are white men. White men. So what they started doing is they're going to try to change the way they count mass shootings. Any shooting that includes 4 people or more, the minimum being 4 people, is considered a mass shooting. So some of the shootings that happen in the black community and on the street and what have you are being included in that count. Now the reason they're doing it is to skew the numbers. Because the world knows that the primary, vast majority of mass murderers, of these shooters, are white men. WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is The Open Eye. Tell your friends. see you, sister. Happy birthday to your daughter. All right, all right. Dope and I on WHGE 95.3 FM on Patrice Gibbs, your third eye optometrist. Over 200 mass shootings so far. Before a man killed at least 4 people Wednesday at a hospital in Tulsa, there have already been 233 mass shootings this year, like I said, according to the Gun Violence Archive. It is the 20th since last week's shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, which left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. Mass shootings where 4 or more people, not including the shooter, are injured or killed, have averaged more than 1 per day this year. Not a single week in 2022 has passed without at least 4 mass shootings. It's just June. We're halfway through the year. Not 1 week. So 26 weeks. 26 weeks. And not even after June's not over. And in 26 weeks, not 1 week has passed without at least 4 mass shootings. What's up, Brother Jardea? All right. The number of school shootings since 2000 around the world. England, none. Zip. Great Britain, zip. Greece, 1. The Netherlands, 1. Spain, 1. China, 3. Mexico, 4. Australia, 3. This is since 2000. Canada, 5. Germany, 5. South Africa, the only country in Africa listed. Take note, 5. That's since 2000. Up to 2012, there were 239 since Candy Hook in December 2012. It's the way the guns are obtained here. Japan's process for buying a gun requires an interview with the police about why you need a gun, a psych evaluation, 3 different permits, and a background check that includes interviews with family and neighbors. See how you act. Here, look, they did a video. Well, there's a video floating around the internet. Okay. I think it's a 13-year-old boy that was taken to different places to see if he could bypass age requirements. So he took him to a liquor store and tried to buy some liquor. He ran out of there. They took him to a convenience store to buy some cigarettes. He was denied. They took him to a gun show to buy an AR-15, 13 years old. He was immediately offered the sale. You know, after Bill Clinton banned assault weapons in 1994, mass shooting deaths dropped by 43%. After the Republican Congress let the ban expire in 2004, they shot up by 239%. We don't need to arm teachers. We need to ban assault weapons. And that's a quote from Lee Turner, Democratic congressional candidate for South Carolina's 4th District. Uvalde, Texas. AR-15. Buffalo, AR-15. Boulder, AR-15. Orlando, AR-15. Parkland, AR-15. Las Vegas, AR-15. Aurora, Colorado, AR-15. Sandy Hook, AR-15. Waffle House, AR-15. San Bernardino, AR-15. Midland, Odessa, AR-15. Poway, Senegal, AR-15. Sutherland Springs, AR-15. Tree of Life, Senegal, AR-15. Do you get it? It's the assault rifles. Assault rifles are weapons of war. Why is America allowing weapons of war to be issued to regular citizens? And sometimes even children. It's the guns. But obviously, they don't even want background checks. Now I'm talking about the Republicans. They block every effort for any qualifications to buy a gun. They don't even want background checks. That means that they want insane criminals and everything else to be able to obtain a gun. It's a sad commentary on our society that instead of protecting children by banning guns, we're teaching children how to duck and roll and hide, which obviously has not been working. Showed us that you evolving. Oh, they got this thing about, a good guy with a gun is the only thing that stop a bad guy with a gun. Boy, we saw the fallacy of that in Uvalde, Texas, didn't we? Because good guys with a gun didn't do a goddamn thing, a bunch of cowards. WHGE 95.3 FM, Low and I. Hey, Tracy. WHGE 95.3 FM, Open Eye. Your third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs. Yeah, I know I don't sound too cheerful, do I? Even though I'm critical of the Credo, Michael Harriot, I'm critical of him as well. But he wrote an interesting editorial which really went in line with a lot of my thinking and some things that I have said. We tried to tell y'all. After Rittenhour got off with murder, you know how Americans are. They're copycats. and made a hero of Rittenhour after he murdered 2 people. The judge coddled him in the case. And then what happened was, you had copycats. Remember when, this is what Michael Harris said, remember when Don Lemon was accused of spreading unadulterated racism because he said white men are the biggest terror threat in America? Does anyone remember when Joy Reid was called the race lady because she called out Tucker Carlson for his white nationalist ideology? We called it intellectual debate over free speech after New York Magazine's Andrew Sullivan said the goal of Ibram X. Kendi's anti-racism was running the country by fiat to purge it of racism and antagonize Nicole Hannah-Jones because her 1619 project failed to include a single chapter on penis mythology. When the Atlantic's Adam Sewer warned about Carson, Laura Ingraham, and Christopher Cantrell spreading white nationalist ideology 4 years ago, the pro-white think tank V. Dare and his followers offered their qualified white opinion. There's a concept that I call the privilege of individuality. The idea that a white person's actions don't reflect upon white people as a whole, because white people are accustomed to being viewed as individuals. When a white supremacist shoots up a grocery store, he is seen as a lone outlier and not a representative of a larger subset of white people. That's the privilege of individuality. Okay, that's what Michael Harriot points out. And of course, I don't agree with the privilege of individuality. Because the actions of these white supremacist terrorists, who are not lone wolves, who are influenced by the propaganda put out by the white supremacist media, okay? Their actions are indicative of the white supremacy pathology that permeates white America. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, they always come up with this idea that, well, you know, this is their big one here. He was mentally ill. No. No. He was espousing the hatred that the religion of white supremacy taught him. Oh, he's mentally ill. How many of us have seen the postcards from lynchings? It wasn't the Klan. It wasn't the Ku Klux Klan that was doing these lynchings. It was the white community. It would be announced in church that they were going to have a lynching in the town square this afternoon. And the white community would turn out in their Sunday best to enjoy the murder of whatever black person they had captured and decided to kill. It is the pathology of their mindset. And in these postcards, you would see a whole crowd of white people. You're going to tell me all of them were mentally ill? It is the pathology of their illness overall. I don't give them the privilege of individuality. Because what these things are indicative with their history that they don't want you to know about is indicative of is the sick society that they have always been. Always been. Oh, and of course, course, you know when these things happen. But what about Chicago? I'm going to go along with what a lot of black activists have been expressing. Keep Chicago out of your mouth. Chicago is not even in the top 10 of the most dangerous cities in America. So cut that crap. That's BS. They're not even in the top 10. All right? Hey. White genocide is the most laughable form of white tears because white genociders believe that whiteness is superior while simultaneously acknowledging that non-white DNA will eventually erase Caucasians from the face of the earth. That's a quote from this op-ed that I was reading to y'all. Hey. They are so fearful of not being in control. They're so fearful of any advancement by people of color and black people that fear makes them feel oppressed. You know, Dr. Carl Anderson explained white rage as the reason for this. And it's primarily black people that give white people white rage. And what do we do to give white people white rage? Existing. Existing. That's what we do. And if we have any sense of assertiveness, if we are any way successful financially, if we do anything to build up our community, if we do anything to advance, that is the motivation for white rage. And what does white rage get us? White supremacist terrorists coming in our communities, committing terrorism and murder. It's not new. It's been going on since before Tulsa, Oklahoma, which, by the way, this month is the 101st anniversary of the white terrorist attack on Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is The Open Eye. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Because that's what we have for our police force. Racists and bigots and cowards. Like I said earlier, this idea that a good guy with a gun is the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. A good guy would have done is the only thing that's like DS. And they showed us that in Uvalde, Texas. Now this school in Uvalde, Texas, where these 19 children, babies, were murdered, was 3 minutes away from the police. Took them 15 minutes to get there when they were informed. Children calling 911. Took them 15 minutes to get there. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. And when they got there, it was an hour before they entered the school. An hour. Cops stood outside the school while the killer rampaged inside. Then they well, we don't hear any shooting going on, so it must be a hostage situation. No, it wasn't no hostage situation. And if it was, children were being killed. What the hell were you doing standing outside? Oh, the corruption. Uvalde, by the way, for those of you that haven't heard, it's been all over the news. Uvalde's police force receives 40% of the city of Uvalde, or the town, whichever it is. 40% of their budget goes to policing. Oh, a year ago, they had a big deal about how they had did all this training and what have you. They took photos, lined up how they were, how they had their police armor and what have you. Oh, they were ready. Oh, they did the training on how to, what they were going to do if there was a mass shooter that came into school. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Let's not leave out the racist part. Because the majority of the students, and what's the name of the school? Sorry, I don't have that. But the majority of the students were Hispanic. Whether white, Hispanic, or whatever, they were Hispanic. 3 minutes away, it took them 15 minutes to get there. Would that have been the case? It just was an all-white school, and the students' last names were McCulley instead of Rodriguez. Would they have stood outside the school for 40 goddamn minutes or more while these children were being murdered? While these babies were being killed? See, they were in no rush to run in there and help a bunch of Hispanic children. I'm not putting my life on the line for no bunch of Hispanics. I'm not doing that. We'll stand out here and wait. Onlookers yelled at them to go in. They didn't. One parent urged bystanders, you know what? Let's rush in because the cops aren't doing anything like they're supposed to. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Robb Elementary, that's the name of the school. It has 576 students, and 84% of them are economically disadvantaged. Now 19 were murdered. 17 had bullet wounds. 538 are emotionally scarred for the rest of their lives. Excuse me. The school has one counselor, one. Yet Uvalde police is 40% of the town budget. The system can't fail of people it was never meant to protect. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Yeah, Does anyone know the name Angeli Gomez? Angeli Rose Gomez heard about the shooting at the Uvalde school, drove 40 miles full speed. When she reached, the coward police were doing nothing. Racists and cowards and bigots, oh my. When she yelled and demanded they storm the school, these punk-ass police put her in handcuffs. She managed to convince one to remove the handcuffs, saying she would behave. As soon as they released her, she ignored the police warnings and jumped the fence and ran into the school without a gun and rescued her two sons and ran back out with them while 19 police stayed outside scared. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Miss Gomez is a real MVP. Yeah. So what's going on here? What's going on with the police? Oh, yeah. It's been a couple of weeks. But yeah, there was a black man with his hands up, as commanded by the police, and the police shot him. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Nothing but a taxpayer-funded street gang. That's what they are. Okay. So, President Biden has issued an executive order against police brutality. Okay? It's a nothing burger. It don't mean a damn thing. Because it's only relevant to federal police and it does not affect local police at all, which is where the brutality takes place. Remember what I told you. When it's election time, you know, they come around, we're coming into the midterm elections. And they come around and, yep, we're gonna look out for you. We sure are. And as soon as they get what they wanted out of us, which is our vote, which we have not been selling to the highest bidder, you know. Once they get what they want, they say, well, you know, it's not a whole lot we can really do for you right now. And then, you know, we're going to have to, well, we got some other priorities because, you know, we know that Asian people haven't been in this country as long as you and haven't suffered the things that you suffered. But we need to really do something about these things that are happening to other people of color, you know, because people of color are really suffering and what have you. And, you know, well, you know, it'll spread out to black people because, you know, you're people of color too, right? That's why I don't include us in people of color, because they don't. When they do something for people of color, they leave us the hell out. Racists and bigots and cowards, oh my. Yeah. 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 Hey. Check this out. This, wait a minute, where is it? Yeah. This comes from Ben and Jerry. This Ben and Jerry put this out when George Floyd was killed. The murder of George Floyd was a result of inhumane police brutality that is perpetrated by a culture of white supremacy. What happened to George Floyd was not the result of a bad apple. It was the predictable consequence of a racist and prejudiced system and culture that has treated black bodies as the enemy from the beginning. What happened to George Floyd in Minneapolis is the fruit born of toxic seeds planted on the shores of America in Jamestown in 1619. When the first enslaved men and women arrived on this continent, Floyd is the latest in a long list of names that stretches back to that time and that short. Some of those names we know: Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Oscar Grant, Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Emmett Till, Tamir Rice, Martin Luther King Jr. Those are the names we know. Most we don't. Okay? And then you get a fool like Herschel Walker, who won the primary in Georgia to run for Senate as a Republican. A straight out idiot. An uneducated, uncouth moron. You talk about not being allowed at the barbecue. Oh, I go far beyond that. For a fool like that, you take him around the corner and deal with him. So, from Malcolm. Malcolm said sometimes a fruit falls from a tree and rolls so far away from its roots that it's no longer of the tree. The hard fall and long journey bruises the fruit so much that it totally changes it. It's the same way for some of our people. This is why some can't be awakened regardless of how much truth you present to them. This journey has totally brainwashed them to such a degree that they're no longer of the original tree. Like I said, I have a special thing for them. Yeah. Oh, I ain't forgotten. Racists and bigots and cowards, they're out there. Like I said, let me tell you something, black people. In this day and age, with what's going on, do not travel alone. Tell someone you trust where you are going. Tell your loved ones that you are not suicidal. Write a note that you are not suicidal for additional evidence, and carry some form of protection. Stay vigilant and safe. Because racists, bigots, and cowards. Let me close out here. Time flies. I'm a little over here already. In light of the racial terrorism we are experiencing, does anyone think it's odd that the FBI, Homeland Security, or the government has never in the 21st century, has never been able to bust or expose a white terrorist organization? I have my faults with my criticisms for Umar Johnson, but that's what he said. He pointed that out. Isn't that odd? You might think so until you come to the realization that the FBI, Homeland Security, the United States government, and your local police are actually the white terrorist organization. Racists and bigots and cowards. A taxpayer-funded street gang. I'm Patrice Gibbs. And as I always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. Sorry I didn't have that quote on me, Brother Jardea. I want to thank Open Eye contributors for posting some serious information. And I want to give big ups to my co-hosts who didn't make it today. Brother Nsoromma, big ups. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is The Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. Stay tuned for Timeless Topics. All right. Yeah, I should have had that quote covered. Nothing. I'll be back next week. Yes, indeed. All right. Way out of here. That hour went by so quick. Sir. Thank you, Brother Jordan, Tracy, Vaughn, Jakim. All right. I'll be back next week with more. Thanks for joining us. Peace.